Hello everyone and welcome to a banner review. Today I'm reviewing the Final Fantasy VII banner. Now let's get some things out of the way before we start talking about this banner. First of all, if you got a healer and you love that healer and you don't want to hear about a new healer that is, in my opinion, better, you probably won't enjoy this video. As a matter of fact, you can probably just hit the dislike button right now. It's okay. I don't even look at that anymore. Secondly, something to note about this Mod King is that we will not see, old units other than Barrett and Kate Sith giving banner up percentages. So that might influence your decision to pull here. Now, with that being said, what I'm going to talk about in this video is basically a general approval of Aerith as what I would consider to be, if pretty much the best healer in the game, in my opinion, currently. If that makes you angry hearing that right now, then you're probably not going to want to listen to my opinions any further. So consider this a cautionary warning message for the banner review. With that being said, let's get into it. Alright, so now that I've gotten this general cleaning out of the way, let's talk about this banner. This is the new Final Fantasy VII banner. We will see 2 new 5-star base characters, as well as 2 old characters showing back up again. The 2 old characters being Kate Sith and Barrett. Kate Sith is an absolutely fantastic unit if you are just starting out the game and you need someone to just AoE death in arena. Kate Sith is basically your character. Think he's absolutely solid, think he's a fantastic sprite, love him, even did a review on him. So, you can go check that out. Barrett, on the other hand, Barrett is a 4-star base character that goes up to a 6-star. In the 7-star meta, no, he will not carry you through the higher end trials. However, with that being said, Barrett does have... Can't pop my jaw. Anyway, Barrett does have some really good solid chaining abilities, both in his limit burst and in his kit. So I actually really like Barrett as, you need a chainer, you can't get a 5-star one, this guy's pretty solid. So I actually really like Barrett. The only problem is that you're probably going to need some guns to get a lot of potential out of him. But if you're starting the game, this is a solid attacker. Next up, let's get into the new characters. First of all, Red 13. Now, Red 13 has some very interesting points behind him. One, well, let's talk about the things I was nervous about. One, I had no idea how they were going to do equipment on him. Given the equipment that I have now seen, I'm a lot less nervous. Now, some people will complain saying, well, Red 13 never used this in the game, and honestly, I don't care. Potentially, his equipment setup now makes him much more usable in this game as a true dual-hand user, and that's really all that fucking counts. Honestly, it's like the people who complain about Sephiroth being a dual-wielder. So what? Any character can dual-wield. You can put dual-wield on Doggo here. Okay, Nanaki. I love Nanaki, so let's be respectful of him. But it may not necessarily make any sense to you, but it's a gameplay mechanic. Get the fuck over it, is my general opinion on that. Now, Red 13 has a much better equipment selection than I thought he would. Basically, fists, katanas, and greatswords means that this guy can be a top-tier true dual-hand attacker. As a matter of fact, with greatswords, he can actually be potentially really high because his base attack is, in a 7-star, is 219 with an extra 65 points. Let me put that in perspective. You know what Satan is? You know what... Axstar is 206. 206 is the base attack for them with an extra 65 points in. Nanaki has 219. Now, I don't have the unit yet. I haven't tried building him, but it potentially could be an incredibly high attack on Nanaki overall. You might even be able to hit the highest attack without a buff in the game. Again, until I build him and try him out, I'm not entirely sure, but it is a little bit exciting. Now, also in talking about this unit, of course we got to talk about his TMR and his Super DMR. TMR is a 50 attack accessory, 10% extra attack, 20% MP. This TMR is just one of the best attack accessories you can get in the game, period. It has a high attack like Flamies or Arngrim, but it also has an extra 10% attack on it, and 20% MP to boot. So this is just a great high quality TMR for attackers. If you're looking for a high attack accessory, it's amazing. Now, Super Trust Mastery is another accessory. Kind of a little disappointed they just didn't give a materia or something a little bit different, but hey. It's a 60 attack accessory, 30% MP, 100% limit burst fill rate. I'm not super crazy about this. This is not a really high quality super TMR in my opinion. 60 attack is high, and if you consider how high attackers have been able to get lately, well, this accessory is pretty damn amazing for potentially just building a higher quality Axe Star. Now, I don't know why my pocket's pulled out, but there it is. 30% MP is also really great, and 100% limit burst fill rate is also pretty good. I just don't know if I quite consider this to be the greatest super TMR in the game. It would like if someone gave it to me, awesome, but otherwise I'm not super worried or super concerned about it. Now, Nanaki's kit has a couple of ways to give him triple cast for multiple turns, including his limit burst. His limit burst is basically a one-hit attack, not a super high percentage, but in his kit he can actually up his limit burst damage by using another attack first, and it ignores 50% defense, so his limit burst isn't really to scoff at either. The nice thing is that his limit burst is only 30 crystals, and it provides an AoE debuff of elements of fire, wind, and dark, and gives him triple cast for 3 turns. The really other thing I like in his kit is that he has fire, wind, and dark imbuing on his attacks. He also has 100% true dual hand, so not as easy to build as Axe Star, who basically with his own TMR has 200% true dual hand, but still, you know, has some true dual hand in his kit, so it supports it. He has some killers and ways to actually give himself not just Beast Killer, because Beast Killer will be his highest percentage, but he can give himself 150%, you know, physical damage killers for 2 turns of Beast, Demon, and Undead from, I believe, his counter. So that's potentially really cool. He has natural double cast. But the thing that will either be the thing you like about him or hate about him is he kind of has a new form of chaining, which is 10 hits at 10 frames. Now, you're probably asking, who does that chain with? Far as I can tell, Randy. Randy has that chaining ability, and if it does chain properly, then Red 13 here will have a potentially very strong future, since Randy is still very strong. I think people forget about it because he's a limited time unit, but Randy is incredibly strong. What's more is that Red 13's main chaining ability, the 10 hits at 10 frames, 400%, actually has 150% stacking damage on it. Stacking damage can be pretty considerable. If we saw Axe Star, you know, giving damage modifiers being an incredibly high attack, this could be potentially incredibly damage dealing with natural killers. I think a lot of people are underestimating it, but again, depends what killers, depends what the boss is. Other than that, he has a huge MP heal on his cooldown abilities. It gives him also triple cast and the party 200% limit burst fill rate. Super nice. Sorry, my jaw's hurting me right now. It's driving me crazy. And another cooldown ability that's a big hit attack that gives him that limit burst damage I talked about. Red 13's kit has some nice chaining options. More, it has some nice elemental imbuing options that are fairly different. Fire, wind, and dark. Pretty spread out. Probably not going to be many bosses that can deal with all 3 of those elements. But even if it gives Red 13 a nice range of elemental while equipping top tier weapons that are either Axe Star's super TMR or Cloud's super TMR and not missing a step with that 219 base attack and an extra 65 points put in. Red 13's only problem is that chaining. If he has a chaining partner, perfectly fine. If not, he'll probably run into a little bit of trouble. But I wouldn't necessarily count him out just yet. We could see this as a new chaining family. We're just not entirely sure yet. But honestly, Red 13 has a fantastic TMR for any long-term player. and also I would say a pretty strong super TMR for very long-term or whale players. And Red 13's kit might be more interesting than we will initially give it credit for. I know people look at this in a vacuum basically, which is not the case in the actual game. Hey, but then again, I'm always a fan of characters that people are like, oh, he's not very good. He doesn't fit in with my plan. Okay, well, just keep the game being boring then, I guess, and let's just keep using the exact same chaining families forever. Yes, it's partially Alum's decision too, but Red 13, maybe a new direction, maybe a new chaining family, might be exciting. We'll see. I will test him out when I get him. Next up is Aerith, and probably the one that a lot of people aren't going to want to hear my opinion on, because a lot of people are pretty, like, I love my healer. It's Ayaka or nothing. Oh, okay, alright, well, that's a pretty boring attitude to have. I guess that's pretty boring, since you won't listen to anything. But I digress. Let's talk about Aerith really quickly. Now, her TMR is a materia that gives 50% spirit and 2 limit burst crystals per turn. Essentially, Citra kind of had the other high spirit, but has the problem of essentially bringing down dark resistance, which can be dangerous if you consider that a lot of trials lately have been doing dark damage. So, a 50% spirit with 2 limit burst crystal materia that has no downside? Hey, pretty great, pretty awesome for a healer to have on her. Super TMR, this is one of my favorite super TMRs in the game. It's an accessory, 60 spirit, 60% spirit, 50% dark resistance, and an extra 5% MP recovery per turn. This super TMR is just freaking nuts. I want this super TMR. It would be great on any healer. It'll just be absolutely beautiful on Aerith. Now, Aerith stat-wise has the highest HP of any of the 5-star base healers. A really pretty comparable defense. I think she's 2 points off of Santa Rosa. And spirit, the highest spirit in the game. The highest base spirit, I should say. And an extra 65 pots put in. Meaning that Aerith can essentially have really high, nice stats. Now, here's the way I would say that I really like about Aerith as a character in the game. She actually combines a little bit of the best stuff from all of the healers that have come before her. She does have a couple of weaknesses, and I'll talk about those weaknesses really quickly right now. One, she doesn't have any general elemental protection. She doesn't have something like CG Fina has. Okay, alright. Secondly, she doesn't have charm immunity. Third, she doesn't have innate full coverage of status ailment protection. So you kind of have to put something on her to protect against status ailments. Last but not least, and one of the things that I think is also another thing in her kit, she doesn't have a really good way to be an MP battery. Now that we've gotten that all out of the way, we can talk basically about her strengths. First of all, her limit burst is about as expensive as Folka or Ayaka's limit burst, so basically comparable to either of those in a lot of ways. Cures all status ailments, revives for maxed out 100% HP, AoE recover of 100% HP, AoE remove all debuffs including stop and charm, which is really nice, AoE 3-turn auto revive with 100%. So it's very close to both Folka and Ayaka's limit burst, both not only in cost but also just in effect, but also as an auto revive on it. And that auto revive is, it's pretty nice just to have that 100% 3-turn auto revive being put on. Now, magic-wise, she has Asuna, she has Dispelga, Full Life, Re-Raise, Curaja, the full kit of the white magic spells we expect in a healer. Not really any need for a stronger healing spell, so it's not like we were going to see a new healing spell anyway. Now in her kit, she has ways to remove status effects naturally. She can actually debuff the enemy for 60% spirit for 3 turns and stop. I think Aerith is going to be the new arena. Oh god. Oh, it's another team with Aerith. Forget Ayaka. You know, Ayaka can remove stop. Aerith can not only remove stop, she causes stop. And that's going to be annoying to fight. Now, Aerith, with her own TMR, has a total of 10% MP recovery per turn, which is super nice. And if she has that super TMR on her, she has 15% MP recovery per turn. So she probably won't have MP problems. Although she can double cast some really expensive abilities. She has ways to remove or prevent the party from getting stat debuffed, as well as giving HP barriers. She can cause damage reduction of 30%. Not quite as high as I thought it would be, but there you go. No invincibility move in the game yet. She has AoE Revive, which is something that Volca is definitely missing in her kit that a lot of people complain about, as well as Dispelga. Oh yeah, there's one other thing I want to talk about at the end of all of this. She has heal and give light resistance, but one of the abilities I really like that stands out is a heal first turn with, a fairly decent mod, but the next turn a delayed heal with kind of a nice mod too. So that kind of sets up a heal now and a heal the next turn, which means that Aerith kind of preemptively heals the following turn, and that means that she can do something else the next turn. That's really cool. Sometimes I'm trying to heal and I need to use other abilities to that turn. So having that heal and then, not heal, or sorry, what am I thinking about? Being able to heal and then heal the following turn and be able to do something else the next turn, that's pretty cool. She has a way to actually counter magic with some AoE for the entire party. Magic damage reduction, which is pretty cool. And she has a way to increase the odds of that happening too, so it's fairly reliable. And I gotta say, stop immunity. Something that was missing with Volca, it's available here. Aerith, you're probably going to be my favorite, but there you go. Depends on the trial. She has also some interesting single target auto revive with 100% HP that also removes stop and charm. That's a pretty cool ability just to have, and she is able to double cast it too. She also has another one that gives a 1000 HP barrier. Now the 1000 HP barrier isn't a lot, but it might be enough to basically make that unit survive an attack, so it's, depends. Now in her 7-star kit, equipping her own TMR gives her extra HP, MP, auto regen, and that extra 5% MP I mentioned earlier, so a total of 10%. She has 3 cooldown abilities that we're talking about. One that basically gives 140% full buff, so for 3 turns, and gives auto revive of 80%. On a 5-turn cooldown, available turn 1, 140 MP, pretty nice little ability. Something also to note is that her W casting of her abilities do not include her most of her cooldown abilities. It does include one of her cooldown abilities, which is her attack ability. Available turn 5, that is, on a 4-turn cooldown. 3-turn, minus 100% light resistance, so kind of a little bit like Santa Rosalia as well, but this hits for 3000% at an AoE 1-hit light magic attack using 100% spirit. If you consider how strong Aerith will probably be for a spirit stat, I think this might be a really hard-hitting ability. 3000% is a high percentage, and her spirit, with her own TMR, should be considerably high. So I'm giving Aerith the benefit of the doubt. This ability should be pretty awesome. And honestly, it's the type of ability I use with Santa Rosa anyway, so it's kind of nice. 150 last one and is basically available turn 1, 14-turn cooldown. It's a reset button. It recovers all HP, all MP, and sets up HP and MP regen for the entire party over the next 3 turns. So it's basically a big reset button, but it has a long cooldown, so you can't necessarily rely on it, but it could save you. Alright, the only other thing that's of note missing in Aerith's kit is essentially, High Tide. Now, if you have ways of giving Aerith the 2 essential things she needs: 1, High Tide, 2, status protection. Honestly, when I think about it, the best fit on her is the Super TMR of Renoa. That thing gives element protection, full status immunity, and some charm resistance, which would go a long way since Aerith can remove charm as well. I would say that Aerith is a stronger version of Ayaka that kind of takes a whole bunch of stuff, and particularly a whole bunch of strengths from a whole bunch of different characters. The missing certain things is, it is a issue for her kit, but generally I would say her kit is very strong, and she probably is going to be, a fairly high damage dealing potentially in the future. The most important thing to me is that I really, really love, other than her kit just bringing a whole bunch of stuff from all of the healers that came before her, is that delayed heal. That ability that sets up a heal and a big heal the following turn. Pretty nice. Probably going to be a pretty useful ability that she can just use and then use something different the following turn. Long story short, who do I think this banner is great for? First of all, this banner is fantastic for new players of the game. Starting the game, one of the most important things you can get is a 5-star healer. This is an amazing 5-star healer, 100%, if not the best. I'm willing to listen to some debate on the issue, but generally I think Aerith's kit is just incredibly strong with, a little bit of everything. Red 13, I think, is a very strong attacker that will probably be underappreciated because most of the community is like, oh, it's not Holy Explosion, oh, it's not AT chaining, then it's not worth my time. Well, it's no wonder that we can't get away from it and can't have anything different in the game, I guess. But if Red 13 can chain with Randy properly, then he will have a fairly successful future, I think. And it kind of depends who comes in the future, too. But Red 13 also has a great accessory that is just great for attackers, so getting even one of him is not necessarily bad. Now, other than that, the step-up banner. For long-term players, I guess I should talk about real quick. If you're looking for a new healer, if you don't have a 7-star healer, then yeah, this definitely go for this. We don't see healers very often, I think. And the chances of Ophelia being necessarily better than this, I don't think so. Alum really likes keeping the healers diversified. And there isn't enough of a big enough jump in stats right now in terms of what a healer can do to really make a huge jump in healers possible even. But, stat-wise, just amazing. Long story short, the TMRs are both great on both of the 5 stars in this kit for both long-term players as well. And I gotta say, I actually really like the step up. This seems like a much nicer step up. First step 1, step 3, and step 5 have not changed. Also step 4 is similar to what it's the same too, as what we saw with previous ones. But step 2 has a much better benefit this time, which is a 30% on banner rainbow ticket. Honestly, I like this thing a lot better than getting a, what did we get before? Cactars, maybe some Trust Moogles. This is essentially a really nice step 2, giving you a potential and a pretty high percent chance of getting a rainbow off of it. It is 70% chance that it's not a rainbow. That's less than 50%, so it's still not likely to happen, but hey, it's pretty good odds too, that while you're also pulling for these characters. So I think it's a great solid step up. I think it's a fantastic banner with some excellent TMRs and some excellent super TMRs on it as well. And I think both of the units, our new units, are very strong. Again, you'll have to see and figure out what you want to exactly spend for resources on this, like you always goddamn do. But I think they did a really great job building Aerith and Red 13's kit. Red 13, I'm really curious about him. For being something different. That'll turn a lot of people off, but if you're interested in experimentation and trying new things with new units, I think Red 13 might be a considerably stronger unit than people are giving him credit for. And Aerith, I just think Aerith is the general best healer because she brings just so many things that a lot of healers could do before her into a single kit, and also has an interesting attack that might be might be just pretty damn strong with some holy chaining too. So that is all for this banner review. I hope you enjoy it. I hope this makes it a little bit easier to decide. But yeah, when it comes down to it, I'm pretty excited for this banner still. Who am I kidding? I'm very excited, just trying to hide it. Alright, so that is all for now. I will see you in the next video. Probably we'll be doing a review on both of these characters once I have them. Anyway, see ya next time.